All right. Welcome to the Town Council meeting. We're calling to order the Town Council meeting. There's actually an LPA meeting that was scheduled to happen right before Town Council, but we're waiting for some folks to arrive for that meeting. So we're going to jump right into the Town Council meeting, and when we're able to start the LPA, we'll temporarily suspend the Town Council meeting, do the LPA, and then come back to it. So we're kicking off the regular council meeting. If we can please call the roll.
Mayor Bright Cruz.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jablonski.
Here.
Councilmember Albritton.
Present.
Councilmember Hartman.
Here.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Great. Thank you. If you can please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just ask. All right. So we'll jump right into the regular council meeting. We are fortunate to have Senator Lauren Book here with us. Welcome, Senator. We really appreciate you coming down and appreciate you participating in
Thanks.
our events over the weekend. It's great to see you. And
It was
appreciate
so
all your
fun.
support.
We had such a good time. My kids are still talking about the ducks and the chickens and the donkey. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you all, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and council members, Vice Mayor, for having me to give a little bit of a legislative update about things that went on in Tallahassee. It was a very busy session. A lot of things were going on. It was a tough session where a lot of issues facing everyday Floridians weren't necessarily met. We have one job typically every legislative session, and that is to pass a budget within 60 days. This year was a little bit different. We had two responsibilities: to pass the budget and redistricting, fair maps, which happens every 10 years. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that in time, so we had to come back in an extended session. And you may have read, we'll be back in Tallahassee next week for a special session on congressional maps. So it was a very hard-fought session, a difficult session, and one that you may have read a lot about. But there were some wonderful things that happened, particularly for Southwest Ranches in the budget this year during the legislative session. And, the mayor and I were talking a little bit about how, my grandfather lived on Old Griffin Road all the way down. And, when he was getting sick, he was driving around one night very late, and he actually almost drove his car into one of the lakes. And we were talking about the guardrails and some of the projects that we work really hard during the legislative session to put in the budget addresses those everyday needs of the residents here in Southwest Ranches. So I want to go into some of the really wonderful projects that we hope, once the governor gets the budget, will continue to stay in the budget. And that is Southwest 54th Place Drainage Extension to Ivanhoe Canal, which was a $409,422 project. Southwest 63rd Street and Southwest 185th Way Drainage Improvement Project, which was $479,306. And Green Meadows along Southwest 164th Terrace Drainage Improvements, which is $793,166. As we know, right next to the elementary school. And after the severe flooding that occurred after extreme weather events, there was a very clear need to continue the hard work to build up resilience and resistance for some of our most important roadways in the county. In Southwest Ranches, I was very glad to support these projects, and again, we'll hope to make sure that they end up in the budget once the budget does come to its end. But there were a lot of bills that passed this session. There were 3,735 bills and PCBs filed. There were 1,896 amendments filed. There were 4,324 votes taken. There were 39 floor sessions, and 285 bills passed both chambers, since we're talking a little bit about the numbers. And as a final budget out kind of outline of what passed. It was a record-breaking budget this year, $112.1 billion that will go to the governor's desk probably after redistricting, the redistricting special session. And just a couple of very brief highlights. $1 billion, an investment in the minimum wage increase to $15 an hour for all state employees and Medicaid health care providers. $470.9 million to the flood and sea level rise programs. $400 million for the Broadband Opportunity Grant Program, $362.7 million for affordable housing programs, $156.2 million for Florida Cancer Hospitals, and $29 million for the New World Reading Program. We also passed a very large and expansive tax package, and I'll go through just a couple of those highlights because I know you have a lot to go through for this meeting. A 14-day back-to-school sales tax holiday from July 25th through August 7th in 2022 for clothing, footwear, and backpacks costing $100 or less. A 14-day disaster preparedness sales tax holiday from May 28th through June the 10th for supplies like lanterns costing $40 or less, radios costing $50 or less, and generators costing $1,000 or less. A 7-day Freedom Week sales tax holiday in July for specified recreational items and activities like admissions to music, sporting, and cultural events. A property tax relief for homestead property rendered uninhabitable for 30 days or more due to a catastrophic event in the 2023 or thereafter. A property tax relief from all assessments to owners affected by the sudden and unforeseen collapse of a residential building, as we saw, unfortunately, in Surfside. And a 1-month moratorium on the state's 25-cent gas tax, and that will begin October 1st, 2022. And just a personal brag that I was very proud of. When I started in the legislature in 2016, and a lot of you have gotten to know my kids, when I started, they were in diapers. I went up after 2 weeks. I worked on a diaper sales tax, and I joked that I would be needing incontinence products by the time this passed. Luckily, that was not the case, but we did get a 1-year tax exemption on diapers for families that need it the most. And I think we've heard a lot about some of the very bad bills, those culture war issues that we've heard about, but I know particularly important to this city commission is home rule. And there was a terribly bad bill that did pass the legislature. That was Senate Bill 620. And just a moment on that bill, just to kind of give an overreach. This preemption bill would allow local businesses to sue local government for enforcing any ordinance that causes the business to lose money. This will create many, unfortunately, frivolous lawsuits against local governments trying to make decisions that are best for the people and the city in their county. Despite this, our caucus members worked very, very hard to pass bills to try to lessen some of that damage. Unfortunately, some of those amendments and pieces to make a really bad bill a little bit better did not work. But it was a tough one. There was a worse product out there that didn't necessarily make its way across the finish line, so we take those as small wins, as they say. But it was a good session in the budget for Southwest Ranches, and we're continuing to do the work in Tallahassee, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have for me.
Any questions? Lauren,
I think we
thank
did
you.
a good job.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate all your work and your support for us
Thank you.
up there in Tallahassee.
We
Very
love
much
you guys.
appreciated.
Thank you. And we'll see you guys soon.
All
Have a
right,
good one.
awesome.
Thanks.
Very good, very good. So I see that we could start the LPA, but I think what we'll do is let's do the proclamation for the Sikhs because they've got a great crowd here. So, and before we get into that, I just want to say, that we so appreciate you all. You are such an integral part to our community. Your service to the community, your giving to the community, the way that you make our community better is so appreciated, and we thank you for that. And so April is Sikh Appreciation Month, but I just want you to know that we appreciate you 12 months out of the year, not just one. So, Russell, if you could.
Certainly, Mayor. Thank you. So this proclamation is in observance of Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month, which is April. So whereas Sikhs have been living in the United States for more than 120 years, and during the early 20th century, thousands of Sikh Americans worked on farms and lumber mills and mines and on the Western Pacific Railroad lines. And whereas Sikhism is the fifth largest religion in the world, and today there are more than 25 million Sikhs worldwide and an estimated 500,000 Sikh Americans. And whereas Sikh Americans pursue diverse professions and make rich contributions to the social, cultural, and economic vibrancy of the United States, including service as members of the United States Armed Forces, and significant contributions to our great nation in agriculture, information technology, small businesses, the hotel industry, trucking, medicine, and technology. And whereas Sikh Americans distinguish themselves by fostering respect among all people through faith and service. And whereas April 15, 2022 marks the one-year anniversary of the devastating act of deadly violence at the FedEx facility in Indianapolis, and we honor the 8 individuals who were murdered, including 4 Sikhs, and numerous lives that were forever impacted. And whereas this year also marks the 10-year anniversary of the August 5th, 2012 mass shooting at the Sikh temple, Oak Creek, Wisconsin, wherein a gunman murdered 6 Sikh Americans and permanently injured several. And whereas the town of Southwest Ranches is committed to educating citizens about all religions, the value of religious diversity, tolerance, grounded in First Amendment principles, a culture of mutual understanding, and the diminution of violence. And whereas today, the town of Southwest Ranches seeks to further the diversity of its community and afford all residents the opportunity to better understand, recognize, and appreciate the rich history and shared experiences of Sikh Americans. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Town Council of Southwest Ranches on this 14th day of April 2022 does hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 to be Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month. Signed by the mayor.
Great. Should we take a picture? Can we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yeah, before we take a picture, why don't you come up? Would you like to, you have a few words you'd like to say?
Yes.
Yes, awesome, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, elected officials, we really are very proud to be part of this town, even though, as we have said probably a few times, our community is spread out between the 3 counties. But this is our anchor town. This is where we do all the things with the community. And we are very, very appreciative of you, the council, issuing the proclamation today. And at the same time, I can't say enough thank you for last 4 years. You, the town, especially Russell,
Yeah.
has been unbelievably cooperative, supportive in letting our youth take participation and create the 5K walk-run event that took place last Saturday, 9th of April. So we are very, very appreciative because you are letting our kids learn how to participate in the towns and in the community activities. And at the end, I want to specially thank all of you, or whichever of you ordered the wonderful weather last Saturday. So again, we are very thankful and we appreciate all the support we get from you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Should we bring everyone here? to
Yeah,
take a
let's
picture?
do.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys, let's take a picture.
Mayor, the weather was a management function.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Thanks for the reminder.
Absolutely. So if everybody back up to the council, kind of look this way. Come back, come back. Bring the council. Come on, please. All right. All right, so you can have the time, turn this way a little bit, like this, there you go, you have to take yourself in. Oh, so maybe if we can kind of spread it out like that. Bring your family over this way. Perfect, thank you. I'm the pushy photographer, you guys have met me before. smiling, everybody. Look at the guy down on his knees. One more. Only one more.
Uh-oh.
Not only important people, right? Family members, everybody's here. Andy, come on. Try it. You have Andy, you can do it again. Just want to shot you right in. Remember, Andy took first for his age group. Thank you, folks. Thanks for all you do for our community. Get in the picture? Put your hand back here.
Thank you. They're going to present the check.
They've done good for the community.
Super. Yeah.
Really helped, yeah.
Yep.
Folks, while we're waiting, if you go out to YouTube, if you remember I had a camera sitting there just taking pictures, I put that together over the weekend. It's the cutest thing. You'll see PK standing there looking at the camera for at least a minute. But it's a fast motion. If you look at Bob Hartman, Unity Run on YouTube, you should find it. Yeah, two ends.
Two ends.
Mayor, before we move on, I think we also have a special presentation from the Sikhs to the town.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr. Jolly? Mr. Jolly, did you want to make a presentation to the town as well?
Second check.
Yeah, wow. We didn't cash that first one fast enough.
We have this young lady making a present.
Very good.
Okay. Can you see the check? Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone.
There you go.
Frame?
There it is. Perfect.
Cool. Good evening, everyone. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible individuals who have planned this event with us for months and worked every step of the way to ensure that this event was nothing but a great success. And so we thank you for constantly providing your support and showcasing the message of unity and unity in diversity. We appreciate the time, effort, and dedication the town council members have put into working with us in making this event one to remember. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for guiding us no matter the time of the day, and thank you for helping us organize this race. This would not be possible without any of you. With this, we look forward to future events to come that continue to inspire the youth and bring the community together. On the behalf of the Sikh Youth Association, we thank you. Thank you so much once again.
Why don't we,
We have a fake and a real check here.
Mr. Jolly, would you like to announce just for the cameras and YouTube what the amount of the check is?
Announce the amount here. Accepting the proceeds.
So from our proceeds of the race and from our generous sponsors, we've raised $10,000.
wow.
Yay.
Very good. I think we need to get another
yeah.
picture.
Another one?
Absolutely.
Which check?
We could use the extra.
Yeah. Okay. Let's set it. Yeah, there we go.
He gets the check.
All right, look at the cameras, people. Don't blink. Are we good? Thank you.
Okay, we're going to suspend this meeting now? Yeah. You need a motion?
I don't know.
You need a motion to suspend the meeting for the other meeting?
Okay. So at this point, we have everybody here to do the LPA, and that work is dependent on some items that are in the regular agenda. So we're going to suspend our regular meeting that we're in. We're going to convene the LPA and finish that piece, and then we'll come back to where we are on the agenda tonight for our regular meeting. So with that said, Russell, if you can please call to order the LPA.
Certainly, Mayor. Mayor Bright Cruz,
Here.
Vice Mayor Jablonski,
Here.
Councilmember Albritton,
Present.
Councilmember Hartman,
Here.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If you'll please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At that time.
All right. Item number 3, please, if you can read that.
Certainly, Mayor. Item number 3 is a resolution of the local planning agency of the town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, making a recommendation that the town council adopt an amendment to the text of the town of Southwest Ranches Unified Land Development Code to exclude certain surface water management areas from net plot area and provide for nonconformities, providing for an effective date. This item was tabled from March 24th, 2022.
Great.
Motion to approve?
Sorry,
Nope.
just before we get into that, I just have a little bit of housekeeping that I need to address.
Okay.
Withdraw that?
So the ordinance that's actually attached to this resolution for the LPA is actually the old ordinance, which has since been corrected. The new corrected version is actually out on first reading, and it's part of the agenda packet and under item number 11. So we're fine in moving forward. Just wanted to bring that housekeeping item to your attention, and we can go ahead and proceed.
Great. Thank you, Richard.
So are we making a motion on item 11 in the regular agenda? Or?
No, just 3. 3 in the LPA.
Just the LPA.
Okay.
Using the backup for item 11, you can.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to proceed with the backup for item 11 on the
Well-
regular agenda.
To approve.
Yes.
To approve, not.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any discussion on this item from the council? This is an item that has been to the comp board and has come back to us. I think it's been discussed quite a bit. Seeing no discussion from the council, is there any discussion, public comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is closed. Russell, if you could please call the roll.
Certainly. Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Item number 4, approval of minutes from March 24th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, any public comment or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, Russell, please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes,
Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
thank you. All right, so adjourn the local planning agency, and we will pick back up with the suspended regular meeting. And we are at item number 5, the district boundary. Russell, if you can introduce this item.
Certainly, Mayor. So we have with us again tonight our consultants with Empire Consulting, Scott Burton Rodriguez, and he's going to, and Taylor Garcia, and they're going to present to you the new plans that have been devised pursuant to the last discussion on this item. Council's comments were heard, considered, and some alternate plans were provided. They've been provided in the backup. We can discuss those particular plans if you have any questions. If there's a preferred plan, Mr. Burton Rodriguez will kind of introduce those plans.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor,
evening.
Vice Mayor, and Town Council.
Hi.
I'm Scott Burton Rodriguez. Just want to give you a little format how we're going to present this. So when we present the plans to you, these updated plans, if you hear the words like 2B or 2C, that means it was a derivative of that plan of 2A. So we refined it based upon received your comments and so on. And so if you see 2B and 2C, its original plan was 2A, and we just tweaked it. We did that same thing with 3A and created 3B. And then, working with the town clerk and staff, we came up with a plan 4A, which is based on your feedback, your input. We really do appreciate everyone who participated and helped Russell get those comments, and we came up with some pretty good plans there for 4A and 4B. And with that, I'm going to allow Taylor Garcia, my colleague and redistricting consultant, to go over those plans, the new updated plans with you. If that's okay?
Very good, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council. Thank you for having us back. So as Scott said, working with town administration and town clerk, thank you again. Using your feedback, we were able to develop these new plans. So with these updated plans, those are the, that's the beginning. Yeah. Those are the original ones from our prior, there we go, updated plans. So Plan 2B is the first one, as everybody there on there in front of them has 2B. That's the map that should be in front of you there. On the bottom left, you can see those numbers just like how we did last time. So this plan, just to summarize it, going back from 2A, like Scott said, it took from there. That's continues to minimize the modifications to the existing district boundaries while attempting to balance the population equality per district. District 3 is expected to grow by 100 plus persons in 2022-2023, so we took that into consideration. This attempt is to decrease the population in District 3 to accommodate future growth while staying at that below 5%. Based on existing districts, the small portion of the South northeast section of District 1 is assigned to District 2. And a small portion of the southwest portion of District 3, 105 persons, is assigned to District 2. District 4 stays intact to the existing district boundaries. This improves the population equality in District 1. It also improves population equality in 2 and in District 3, while District 4 remains the same. So going to that bottom chart there, you can see the District 1 is at that 4.1%. District 2 is 1.4%. District 3 is negative 3.3%. And District 4 is negative 2.2%, with your ideal population mean at a lovely 1,981. And you're at that 3% mean for deviation. So that is 2B. Moving on to 2C. So again, this is also from 2A, taking from the community of interest. This plan modified 2A and assigning more people into District 3 and is now going into District 2. So we're continuing to minimize modifications to existing district boundaries. So if we look at the chart there, it's pretty much the same percentages as well. The only thing that's different is the lines. So if you're looking at the two maps next to each other, that's where you'll see the little difference there. But all the percentages stay the same. Now, 4 is brand new that we did not present last time. You guys have seen. So this one is also taking into consideration the new development that the assistant town attorney brought to our attention, and able to minimize modifications. And based on the existing districts, a small portion of the southeastern section of District 1 is assigned to District 2. And the northeast portion of District 2 is assigned to District 3. District 4 stays intact to the existing district boundary. So now when you look at the graph on the bottom, and you see the population and the percentage, I know you'll see that District 1 is in that 4.1%, and then all the other districts are in a lower negative. Now, with that being said, with the new development and everything like that, which was taken into consideration. So that's what the hope is for the 2022-2023 year, is it will balance out. Moving on to 4B. District 1 improves population equality with a deviation of 4.1%. District 2 improves population equality with a deviation of 1.4%. District 3 improves to a negative 3.3%. And District 4 population remains the same within those boundaries. So with 4A, getting that base from you guys in the communities of interest, are there any comments? Okay.
And also, Russell, got a crash course in geography. That was great. We really focused also on compactness in 4A. So what we really like about 4A is it's very compact, and all these plans that we present in this document meet the requirements. It's just a matter of choice and what's in the best interest of the town. But from what we're looking at, it seems like 4A is, from our perspective, a very good plan. And Russell, I appreciate all the input you provided. It really helped. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, so we've got some new plans to look at here. I think they have addressed the issues that we brought up at the previous meeting. And let me just open it up to comments from the council. Is there a preference? I know, Jim, you had some concerns last time. What's your thoughts on these items?
Mayor, I thank you, and I thank Russell, and I thank the company for this. When you look at the numbers, I really like 4A, and that it does balance everything back out again. Pretty much, evens out the numbers. Is not going to hurt anything to give up part of a part of a area or so. But I do gain that little bit of a space back there in Green Meadows. You know, we're working hard to get Green Meadows back into the Civic Association, so that'd help a lot. So I do particularly care for 4A. Thank you.
Great, great. I think 4A is that was my preference as well.
I would support 4A as well.
Yeah.
I think it's the most balanced and the lines make the most sense.
Right. Gary, what do you thought? What's your thoughts?
I feel like a beach ball bouncing around because every permutation,
I know.
mine changes.
I know, it's a
Yeah,
little
my
mind-boggling.
district changes. I'm fine with 4A.
All right, great, great.
4A is fine.
It's okay. All right. I think we have a winner. I'm very comfortable with 4A as well.
Okay. Can we get a motion and a second, just so
I'd
that we
like to
can have
make
that for the
that
record?
motion to accept 4A as the town council's district boundaries.
I'll second it.
Very good, thank you. All right, any further discussion on this from the council?
Wish it was this easy in Tallahassee.
I know.
Don't we all?
Seeing none, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing
Great job.
none? Seeing
Thank
none.
you. No,
Yeah, good
thank you
job.
guys. And like me and Scott were talking about on the way up, because of your guys' feedback, we were able to get to this 4A. And because of the hard work from Russell and Andy and everybody else in administration, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And great job, Southwest Ranches.
Great, thank you.
See you
I mean,
soon.
I'm impressed that our photographers could also do this. It's amazing.
Right.
Listen, Empire Consultants, there's a lot to it, not just redistricting.
When would this go into effect?
When-
January?
Russell, what's the?
No, I believe I spoke to Keith, and we're going to have an ordinance come forward. We hope to have this in place by June.
Okay, okay,
Oh, wow.
good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We need to vote on this item, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got a
Well,
motion, a
well-
second. Russell, if you can please call the roll.
I will. And just to say one other thing, we will come back with an ordinance that will express those lines. So we'll have 2 readings of that ordinance,
And then it's official.
and then it'll be official.
Perfect.
Just a question on this, Steve?
Yeah.
How do we communicate this other than on the town website to our residents?
Well, we can certainly do something utilizing all of our media channels. So the website, social media, our newsletter, certainly convey it that way. Our GIS consultants will need to be consulted to make sure that we update our GIS database that's on our website as well. I'm sure that Scott can help us with the shape files for that.
So maybe you can put a plan together
Yeah.
that we can talk about when you come back with the ordinance?
Sure,
Perfect. Thank
absolutely.
you.
You got it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
for your hard work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Continue with the rolls. So Councilmember Albritton,
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman,
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski,
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz.
Yes,
Motion passes.
very good. That's awesome.
Excellent.
All right. Public comment.
Mayor, we have one speaker tonight, Mr. Hollingsworth.
Okay. And Newell let me know ahead of time that he's going to exceed his time limit, but I think we'll be all right.
I won't be putting anyone else at risk.
That's right. That one gets a star.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The handout I've given you is the, what's in the Southwest Rancher. The last couple of months, I've been going to drainage and infrastructure meeting on the swales that were done on 199, 201, 202. And having gotten zero feedback from them, other than being ignored, basically. I'm now bringing it back to you. And just so happens that it was in the Southwest Rancher around the town, maintain your swale. I'd like to use that document as the crux of what was done wrong on 199, 201, and 202. If you'll take a look at, I'll give you this one here, which is in the Southwest Rancher, And the other one is the table, conversion tables, to calculate percent of slope. And I got that off Google. You'll take a look at the form here. It says that it should be from the roadway down to the deepest point, should be a 12% maximum slope. From the lowest point up into the yard should be a 25 maximum slope. A 1 foot swale depth needs 8.3 feet off the road to be at the max 12% slope. When Gary and I went on their walkthrough of 199, 201, and 202, at one point they took a 4 foot level, put it on the edge of the roadway, out over where the deepest part of the trench was, and went down to the top of the grass. And that was done by our engineer, and they said that was at 8 inches. Well, I happened to mark that spot, because I went back to it afterwards, and remeasured it using a 4 foot level. But 8 inches was at the top of the grass, the Bahia grass pile. And then I took my feet and stomped on the grass right there, pressing it down. At that point, the measurement was 11 inches. I then took a pair of scissors and cut away all the grass in a little tiny spot right there, push it away so it was at the soil level. That was 12 inches at that point, not 8 inches. That is a 25% slope, which is against both Central Broward and South Broward drainage districts paying for a slope, as you can see in the notes underneath. Right here is where it says it. So, it says that, and I am now quoting off the Southwest Rancher, the center line of the swale typically is 6 inches below the edge of the pavement, not 12 inches, according to our town engineer. Because swales have a wide and relatively flat profile. Well, I'm sorry, on 199th, 201, and 202, they have a V-shaped profile, very steep. 25 degrees, not 12. And it's 12 inches, not 6. Also, do not misuse your swale. Do not pile garbage, trash, leaves, limbs, and debris in the swales. Okay, since we're not supposed to do that, where are we supposed to put our bulk? And how is that supposed to be handled? Since we're not supposed to put it in the swale, according to this document. What is happening here? You've got one hand, everything's right. I heard the degree 30 degrees. So it's not 12, it's 12% slope, not 30. It's not 12 inches, it's 6 inches, according to the town document. Yet on this document, we're talking 12 inches, the exact same page. I have asked for certain things, and I gave you a document asking what should be done. It has not come before them, so now it's before you, and I will ask you, will you put into effect any of those things that I asked for and the residents of 199th, 201, 202 have asked for? Are you going to have meetings ahead of time? Are you going to take the residents' input into before before it goes out for bid. I don't see it happening. That was actually brushed right over and thrown away at drainage. So now it's before you. Are you going to say, engineering, you got to have the meeting with the residents and you have to take their considerations beforehand, before it goes out for bid, not after the fact that, oh, the bid's already been granted, we can't change it now. What are you going to do? You have the list, I gave it to you, and you can take a look at it from 3 months ago. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you, Newell. Any other public comment? That's it? Okay. All right, board reports. Do we have any board reports this evening?
Good evening, Council.
Hey, George.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman. George Morris, Chair of the Drainage Board. Thank you, Newell, for that, those comments. He attended our last meeting, and we did listen to him and gave him a chance to speak, and he brought up several good points, and he was definitely not ignored or looked over. We are working on some of these items and some of the things he just mentioned with regards to the design and the engineer and things of that nature. We're actually talked about moving towards a survey and design method prior to commencing any new projects, so that would hopefully address those issues. Prior to that, we weren't doing that. We were just going in. We weren't actually, really assessing everything the way that we probably should have been, considering that every neighborhood could be different. We had chosen that approach to try as a cost-effective method. So, but now that the board has discussed actually implementing this new survey and design prior to any new projects, so hopefully that will address some of those items. And with regards to Newell's comment about residents' input, we also did discuss as a bullet with regards to involving the residents, putting mailers, and trying to eliminate this problem in the future, because he is correct. We're trying to handle it a different way, and we are addressing his concerns. The swales, for the most part, they vary, but they shouldn't really exceed an 8-to-1 slope. That is pretty much the standard. With respect to the type of sod, we decided, again at the last meeting, to stick to the Bahia. The recommended sod was Bahia. Regarding the design, the project on 162nd, 163rd, 164th, and Green Meadows, that project is about 70% complete. So we're looking forward to that being completed soon. The board's next meeting is on Tuesday, the 19th. It's the third Tuesday of each month. So we look forward to any members of the public coming out there. Welcome to the meeting. So that's pretty much it for my drainage board comments. On another hand, the Astronaut Foundation, we're looking for volunteers. If anybody wants to join our board for the good cause, again, we put on the car show, we do the bingo, with a chili cook-off, etc. We raise money for the town. So we're always looking for any members of the public that want to join our board. We'd love to have anybody come out and feel free to contact me, contact December at the Town of Southwest Ranches. One of our events coming up soon is bingo on June 11th, which is Saturday. And further in the future, our car show, we're looking at December the 10th of this year. And one other thing that I would like to point out, in this beautiful hall of ours, we have this tree that is behind us. It's been there for some time. That's actually a fundraiser idea with respect to the Town of Southwest Ranches and the Astronaut Foundation. On those leaves, some of you can put your name. We're selling leaves at $100 a piece. We have acorns at $500, rocks for $1,000, and different branches and things like that, different sizes that people can put their name, put their company, put any sort of thing that they want, organization, etc. So if anybody wants to donate and contribute to that tree, we would greatly appreciate it. All the money goes for a good cause. Thank you.
Great. Great. Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
All right. Seeing no other board reports. Council member comments?
I'll go.
Okay. Awesome.
Start things off. I'll be brief. First off, thank everybody who's here for coming. I've got 5 different notebooks here. I'm trying to figure out which one to read off first. And the 7 people watching on YouTube, thank you. Hopefully this will be informative to you. My wife has told me twice to sit up straight, so so I guess she's one of the 7. Anyway, I want to say happy holidays to everybody. We have Passover coming up and Easter this week. So hopefully everybody will have a safe holiday. Just another item of note, we have Hazmat at the Barn on the 14th of May from 8 to 2. There'll be shredding and prescription drug drop-off. And I just want to once again reiterate that the 5K was a great success. We had a lot of fun. Everybody enjoyed it. We got to see the orange flash there. He ran by many of us, so he was doing really good. And it was such a great cause, and there was so many people that participated that, they were able to announce their amount at that meeting, which was really great. So it was $10,000 to go to the scholarship fund. The DMV Flowmobile will be here on the 27th here at Town Hall, 10 to 2. Contact Deborah for an appointment. The Broward County Property Appraiser is going to be at the Town Hall on the 21st from 10 to 12. That's just a walk-in. We had an egg hunt out at the barn the previous week from the 2 weeks ago, and it went really, really well. It was probably one of the biggest ones we've had, hundreds of kids. And I want to make a big shout out to Bob and Nancy Hartman. Bob did an outstanding job with photography. Those of you that don't know this, he took over 660 pictures. And let me tell you, that's a lot of camera work. I was just amazed when I saw them when I went to his website, and I actually got to see who was sitting in my lap.
Those were the keepers.
I'm sorry?
Those were the keeper pictures.
Yeah.
About 800 total.
No, 800, he sorted through them. So there's a lot of work on that, and I want to especially thank his wife. She's the bunny handler. She helps me in and out of this, helps the bunny. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. So that was it was a lot of fun. Everybody had a lot of fun. The neighborhood, all the ladies, all came together and volunteered, and it's a great community effort. Couple things I just want to veer off a little bit and talk about, and that deals with the preserve. I want to throw this idea out there. I've spoken to Andy about it. It's actually 2 ideas. One is we used to have a town-wide garage sale, and sometimes we had it at the park, at the equestrian park, and I would think that would be an excellent place to have a couple of them each year. And if we could tie them in together with when we have the farmers market, because we already have the traffic cones, the parking,
Good idea.
the portalets, which will hopefully soon be a permanent structure that we've already okayed the funds for. Would like to advance that and give Andy the go-ahead to do that. So I see all heads shaking yes, Andy. So
Yeah, anybody have any concern with that?
No.
I think we're
Good
good,
idea.
Gary. Great idea.
Okay. The other idea had was after talking to some residents at the farmers market, is the west side from the corner of 163rd and Griffin to the private property is about 300 feet. And I would like to put in, we happen to have chain link fence already. I'd like to put in the chain link fence on that side because it's just hog wire right now. And, the kind where you slam the poles in doesn't look very attractive. And then I would like to plant on the inside of that. And Russell, I have a picture if you could bring that up. It's not really a hedge, it'd be a planting. That's actually my backyard. Those are 4-year-old Calusas. And there's hundreds of birds that live in them every day. It's a bird fest. It's a great wildlife area. And we could plant 7-gallon, those were 7-gallon Calusas, are now 12 feet high. I use it as a privacy hedge, but it's not manicured. And we could do the same thing there, and it would be a buffer for 163rd, so they wouldn't have to see in on something like that. And I'd like to move forward with that at the same time. Since we already have the chain link, we could have EDJ give us a quote on the planting, and would look something like that. The maintenance on it's twice a year. Yes, sir.
Can I recommend that we look for something native versus Calusia? That's our next ficus. It grows like crazy.
Yeah, I
and
know.
It's difficult to control once the trunks get that big around.
I've had it
Something
now for 4 years, and it's been pretty easy for me to control. It's because I just lopper. I don't use shears on it, and it's worked out really, really well because I keep it right. I have a guide, a 10-foot pole guide that I use, and twice a year I trim it, and it's usually within a day I get I have 250 feet of it, so.
Think ficus.
Huh?
Think ficus.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That actually replaced ficus. But it's a great privacy hedge.
Yeah.
And it's really good for the wildlife the way when you grow it like that, as opposed to manicured and high maintenance and high intensity and something like that. And I'd like to put that in, to be honest with you, because it's worked out so well in my own personal experience.
I mean, from my perspective, that's not my area of expertise, so I really can't weigh in on that one way or the other. But I will say your idea of putting the fence and putting a privacy buffer in there, whether it's Calusa or whether it's something else, I think I 100% support that. I think that's what we should do for those residents over there. It's the right thing to do. I mean, I would look to December. There she is. I would look to December to maybe collaborate with folks that are in the know.
Yeah,
And,
people do have some issues, like Bob said, with the Calusa, but there's no electrical, there's no foundation, it's all out in the open. So the root system, they do have a rather gregarious root system, and actually holds the soil really well. And that's why I planted it where I did. Plus, I've got a really nice privacy area that wraps around my backyard. 250 feet, it's a lot of plant. I planted several hundred of them. So, and I let them go wild, not wild, native, as opposed to a trimmed manicure hedge, as I've seen some, where they're all square cornered and all that. And the animals love it. I mean, when I say have a lot of birds, I mean we're talking dozens and dozens, all roosting in there.
You know how to persuade me, huh? Now you're bringing up birds.
Well, you're the bird guy. You're the bird man of the town.
yeah, I think the idea is good. I'm not sure we should be picking out the particular species of plant here.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We can talk about that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's better people, certainly better people than me to weigh in on.
Yeah, but I'd like, but we need to get the fence put in
Yeah,
first.
I think it's a
This
great
is all
idea.
stuff, and it's all low cost. We already have
Yeah.
the fencing. The plant material isn't going to be that expensive. Those are spaced 5 feet apart, so that was for 300 feet. That's 60 plants.
Yeah, it's nice.
And the new owners are starting to clear the fence line, so the timing couldn't be better.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to throw that. Let Andy work on that project and get that done.
Perfect. Does anybody have an issue with that? Are we all good?
I'm good with it.
We're good? We're good?
Okay.
Great.
That's
Thank
all
you.
I got, Mayor.
Awesome. Who'd like to go next?
I'll jump in.
Thank you, Bob.
So I want to announce that the town appears to be opening up now after the pandemic. That's not a general announcement. That doesn't mean don't wear your masks, don't keep social distance. But I'm just judging based on the fact that last month we had the barn dance, which was a blast.
It was.
It was great getting together with all of our friends after really a 2-year hiatus, or pretty close to it. The farmers market is taking off like I did not expect. I've been there twice now. I went the grand opening weekend, then I went again this weekend, and they've got the flow of traffic worked out very well. Nobody's getting hung up anymore. There's nobody blocked with the cars. The west end was almost full. The overflow is going on to the east side, and I'm running into more and more people that I know there since more people are coming. It's a lot of fun there. People are really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And the variety of types of vendors we have are great. There isn't 2 and 3 of anything. It's mostly one-ofs, or in very few cases, there's 2 people selling the same thing. So hats off to you, Steve, for the idea, to the administration for making it happen, and as well to the vendor that's doing this, because he's got a lot of people out there he's got to keep happy. And there haven't been any problems that I've observed the 2 times I was out there. So things are working really well with that. I'm so glad to see it You know, we started out with 25 vendors, and I think when I was there, I counted 46. So it's almost doubled, and it's very family friendly. There were kids there, there were dogs there, there were even miniature goats that people were picking up and hugging. So it was perfect. Roka Egg Hunt, Gary mentioned it. I want to thank the Easter Bunny for showing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had a brand new suit this year, and he kept his head on for about an hour and a half,
Yikes.
which was amazing. But you knew Gary had a big smile on inside of that big head the whole time, and he had a great time. And the kids loved it. Oh, you were not. You were talking. You were trying to talk to them, especially when they were pulling on your ears. Oh, just stepping back to the farmer's market for a second. My notes got a little bit out of order. Just a reminder, it ends the end of this month. It goes on hiatus until September the 30th. So it's a good idea that we're not going to be out there all summer long. But just remember, it's the last day is April 30th, and it restarts on September 30th. 24th? September 24th. Thank you, December. Andy, hopefully you caught that in my newsletter article.
We will now.
Yes, thank you. As far as the Run for Diversity, that was a great time. There were 200 plus runners. There were 200 plus volunteers. That's amazing when there's one volunteer for each one of the runners. And there was about 100 fans and family members that showed up as well. I'm so glad the Sikh Society landed in our town. This stuff would not be happening. I mean, we've got our own 5K. A lot of towns really try to get that together, and here it is. And Russell, for all the work you're doing to make sure everything goes in line. And Deborah, thank you very much for it. You guys do a great job working with the Sikh Society. Last thing, last Sunday was Party in the Park 2. Sunshine Ranch has had their second. Basically, I think it's open to the residents. They advertised it to the members. But the fun thing about it last Sunday was I saw people I haven't seen in ages. You know, they're some of the residents that just have not been out for years are coming out. So I'm so glad they're doing this. It looks like they're doing it about quarterly. So I look forward to it. Other than that, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, Jim?
I'll go. I'm going to say some of the same things that you just heard. I'd like to start out with the Easter egg hunt. Rolling Oaks Civic Association put that on. It's for the whole town. I think they did a marvelous job. I was very privileged and have been over the past, I guess, 10 years and until the 2 years that we didn't have it, to be one of those that got to throw the Easter eggs out. There was 5,500 Easter eggs that went in a 10-acre field, divided up into 4 age groups, and we turned the kids loose. They found all but 8 eggs. So the 2 people that were driving the cart, myself and Lee Lester, we get those eggs that they don't find. So each one of us got 4 pieces of candy. So, I mean, it worked out great, right?
Nice.
They did find the golden eggs this year. They didn't have too much trouble finding them. You know, I guess you heard several years ago the rumor was that there was a $100 bill in the eggs.
Rumor? Now, who started that rumor?
I have no idea, Mayor, no idea. But there was a rumor, and this year they told me that rumor could not spread anymore, but they did find the Easter eggs, so that was great. The Sikh Association also, I want to say thank you so much to them. I know they're not here, but that was a wonderful, well-organized event. I get to things a little early. I got there a little after 6 o'clock in the morning. There were 200 volunteers. They were divided into groups of 10. Each one had a supervisor telling them what to do, and when they broke out, everything got done. It was just absolutely amazing, like I said, to watch them do this. Say thank you to the police department, to the fire department for their great handling of the traffic and the event. Farmers Market, I've spoken to a lot of the people in my district, that is in my district, and yeah, Gary, they'd be absolutely happy to see a fence and some kind of hedge there, but they were apprehensive about using that property when the carnival came. There was a couple minor things with parking, but now that the farmers market's there, they're very happy that the property's being used, and they see that the town is really looking to make sure it's not impacting them. So they're very thankful for that. Green Meadows, you mentioned that the Green Meadows project is about 70%, probably a little bit more than that now. Some of the residents are very concerned about their sidewalks and their driveways and their front but I was told by Rod and I was told by the contractor that that will all be returned the way it was before. So, the neighbors will be very happy there. We're working on the Green Meadows Civic Association, working real hard to get that going. I think probably in the next month or two, we'll have enough to where we can elect officers and get the paperwork in to where the Civic Association will be back. And then every one of the districts will have association. I think that'd be really good. And last, I'd like to say that the Safety and Traffic Committee are working real hard on putting ideas together to make things different in the future. And I do want to especially thank our Town Administrator, Andy, for all his hard work. I mean, when he comes to these meetings, he's prepared, and I'd encourage everybody in town to come and at least listen to what's going on. I know there will be something in the town newspaper asking you if you have any ideas on what can or can't be done to submit them. So we're working hard on that. And with that, thank you.
Great, thank you, Jim. Yeah, David,
I'm up.
you are.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We got George in the audience, I can see. All right. Hi, folks. David Kaczynski, District 4. Just want to update folks on the wall that was being painted by Laura over on between CVS and the Founders Park. 5 of the panels have been completed. They look absolutely beautiful. I'm interested in maybe we can expand that because I think it could look better if it's expanded further down. I think that's something we should look at maybe next year in expanding that. But it really is a beautiful, beautiful site. I'm still working on the equestrian access across the 184th Bridge, Bonaventure. Last week, I spoke once again with Weston Mayor Peggy Brown, who reiterated to me, I think it may be the 3rd time, she says this is a no-brainer. And it's real basic redrawing of the lines, just so everybody knows that both sides of the C11 canal throughout the town belong to the town of Southwest Ranches. And that area in between the C11 and north to the boundary of Weston, that's a beautiful, beautiful place for the horses to go horseback riding. And once we get that safe passage across Bonaventure Boulevard Bridge, 184th Bridge, it'll be extra safe. We've had some problems with the horses crossing Griffin Road in the past, and we recently made changes to the development right on the other side, the Akai Estate, to allow the equestrian to cross Griffin Road right by that bridge, so it'd be conducive to a very safe passage for the horses. My last issue has to do with the TISDOR program. I took a ride around all the roads that have been recently resurfaced in Sunshine Ranches area. There are some little places that need to be fixed, but for the most part, job looks very well done. There is some additional issues, and I think the neighbors, the residents need to be aware of this with MassTech and Florida Power and Light installing the underground cables on Holity Trail in between Luray and Mustang. They were, you could see, I was walking my dogs yesterday, and I saw that they were doing some, I guess MassTech was doing some work to install the underground lines, and there was a lot of scratches, and I'm not talking like just little dirt on the road. There were actually scratches on Holity Trail.
Gouges.
Gouges. That's the proper word. Thank you, Bob. Gouges in the asphalt. And this is a brand new road. And, you know, it's like stirring a hornet's nest with me. I contacted Andy, and both Emily and Philip jumped on it. And I mean, they may have already been on it, but I was brought up to date that they are taking care of it. But if any neighbors happen to notice something like this, pay attention. We spent a lot of money on these roads. And if FPL, MassTech, is causing damage to that, they are under obligation to make it right. These roads have to last us 30 years, so I sure hope that we can keep it that way. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Just a few quick remarks. You all did a great job of covering all the events in town. It is exciting to see everybody out again, faces I haven't seen in a while, and just getting our community together and kind of renewing the friendships again is really, it's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it, and I know a lot of folks are, so very good. Just to follow up on, David, what you mentioned, yeah, definitely, you know, if we're seeing damage out there, we need to report that. I do want to just kind of give a shout out for this project. You know, when a storm comes through our town, we are usually one of the last to get power back because, you know, other places they can do a repair and turn on 10,000 lights, you know. Here they do a repair and they turn on 35 lights. So we don't tend to get the priority of other areas in Broward County. And this project, a portion of this project is putting the power lines underground, which will be huge for not losing our power in the first place. And so I do, you know, I want to communicate that out, that this is not a frivolous project. This is a project that will definitely help our town and our residents when we need it the most, you know, after a big storm. And so, so I would just encourage you, patience there, research it, you know, do the right thing. But hopefully we can you know, work with them and get this taken care of so that we're a stronger, more durable community after a storm like that. I did want to do, just quickly, Newell, address a couple of things that you had said. I appreciate your comments and bringing those forward. Definitely, I know we've already made changes to ensure that the public has more communication up front. I will say we can't build a bid around public comment. We've got to build the bid around the engineering standards that are required. But with that said, we certainly want to hear from the public because things can be tweaked and adjusted in certain cases. So we definitely want to hear that, and we also want to be able to communicate up front what people can expect. Because I think a lot of times it's that immediate view of, I had a nice green lawn, and now it's dug out and it's got brown grass on it and it doesn't look nearly as nice as it was, is the immediate response. And it's understandable. So I think we can always improve our communication, and we're doing that. I've already, you know, had a couple conversations with Rod. I know he's all over that, and we'll be done. So, you know, we're trying to handle it piece by piece. We have not addressed everything that you had in your list, but I'm not sure we ever will address everything. But it was a good list, and you know, we're trying to address what we can address in timely fashion. So thank you for bringing that forth. The last thing I wanted to touch on is, I'd like a consensus on this from the council if I can get it. Andy, you know, we have since the pandemic has kind of, you know, ebbed away, the traffic on Griffin Road to the school out west is by far the worst I've ever seen since I've been out there. I mean, not even close. It used to be that, you know, traffic at the Bonaventure light going east as the school, you know, traffic was heading back east would back up maybe to 190th, maybe a little bit beyond that. It's well past 199th. You know, basically from the school till the light at Bonaventure is stopped at certain times in the morning.
It's a horror story.
It is. It's terrible. That road needs to be widened, and I think the first step of that is to get a new traffic study out there, traffic counts. I can guarantee you the traffic counts, I don't know if you all remember, but when the traffic counts were done for that school, they were within, like, and I'm not exaggerating, 1 or 2 cars of maximum capacity. I can tell you, if it had been, you know, obviously there was a little political pull there from our friends, but well, saying jokingly, not really our friends. But anyhow, to make that happen and to make the traffic study work out okay. But clearly now, the traffic study is going to be well over what was projected when that was initially approved. We need to get that on the record so we can bump up that project and give some relief to the folks out west.
Can I just make a quick comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I believe, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, at either our next or the following meeting, we're going to have Senator Geller here to talk about the widening project and as well the Griffin Road, Dykes Road, re-engineering of the intersection. We've got support from Weston. We've got support from Davie. They're behind us. We were thinking of MPO. The problem is MPO, it still could be many years out. Andy's been working, and Andy, I don't know if you want to expound on it, but Andy's been working with Broward County. Richard Tornese, I believe. You know, we all know who he is. And that might be a much faster route to get this work done rather than go through the MPO.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, Andy, you want to address in your comments?
Sure.
But,
I'll hold till then.
yeah, he should be here. That's kind of the next step. He wanted to be gotten involved once we get everybody's support. So
Good.
here we are.
Good, good.
Mr. Mayor, I can only imagine the traffic that you're talking about from Weston and on Griffin, from Weston all the way back to 172nd in the morning. You have to wait for somebody to let you in coming off of 166 or any of the side streets.
It's bad.
And that's a double lane road, so I have no idea how much traffic you got out there. It's just horrible. I don't know where all the traffic's coming from, but it's gotten to a point where I don't know if you could 4-lane Griffin and make it any better or not. It's that bad all over.
Yeah.
One of the contributors is the road that used to connect Weston by Manatee Bay Elementary out to 27 has been closed.
Yeah.
Right.
So that,
Right.
I used to take that once in a while when my
Yeah.
daughter was at Manatee Bay, and it was busy back then. We're talking
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Right, right.
So it's all adding up.
Yep, yep. All right, awesome.
Thank
Yeah, very good. And that concludes my comments. Any legal comments this evening?
Thank you, Mayor. No legal comments.
Great, thank you. All right. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just to tag on to the conversation that you just had with Councilmember Hartman on Griffin Road, we have already requested an updated traffic count out there.
Good.
So I don't know when that's will be scheduled for, but obviously it'll be sometime soon, and I'll keep you all posted on that. I'll add to what Councilmember Hartman said is Senator Commissioner Geller will be here at our next meeting, so you'll be able to talk to him about some of those concerns. But with redistricting in the county, he actually represents the eastern side of our town. Nan Rich now represents the western side of our town. So we've already reached out to her and invited her, and she will be here at our second meeting in May.
Great.
So we'll have opportunity to get both our county commissioners, within a 30-day period you'll be able to share some of your concerns on that.
Perfect.
And just traffic on Griffin Road in general has been much worse.
It has.
I mean, just at the end of the day, when I go to leave here, I feel like it could take me 10 minutes just to turn out of town hall at the wrong time of day. So it definitely been worse east and west. So,
Yeah.
but we'll get those counts updated, and I'll share that with you once we have that. The other thing is I want to let you know that we applied last fall for a grant for planting in Calusa Corners for a native tree planting. Mayor, you actually signed off on the letter back in October. We had applied for a grant of just over $17,000. I learned this week we were awarded $13,000 for that with no match. So I just want to let you all know that I have directed staff to proceed with that forward. And unless there's objection from any of you to free money, that'll be on the next council agenda for you to formally accept that grant.
Fantastic.
Okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, great news. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. All right, item number 11.
Item number 11 is an ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, amending the Town of Southwest Ranches Unified Land Development Code, Article 10, entitled Definition of Terms, to revise the definition of the term net acre to exclude certain surface water management areas and drainage easements. Amending Article 45, entitled Agricultural and Rural Districts, Section 045-070, minimum plot size and dimensions, to provide for lots made nonconforming by this ordinance. providing for codification, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
This is the item we approved in the LPA. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this item?
The only question I have is what is the difference between the previous incarnation of this and this one here?
Okay. Seeing no other public comment, public comment is closed. I don't know if we have a,
I think Jeff might be best able to answer that question. Jeff, do you want to address that?
what was changed from the last time we saw it.
The main change to the ordinance is that it only applies in the rural estates district, which allows 1 acre lots. It does not apply to parcels that are under 5.5 acres in size at all. And it phases in gradually between 5.5 acres and 7.5. So any property that's between 5.5 and 7.5 has a 15-foot easement maximum dimension before it gets debited from their net lot area. And then once you get above 7.5 acres, it's 10-foot easement. So the impacts of the ordinance on a particular property and how much of that property can't be counted towards your net lot area because they're devoted to drainage, it phases in to make it more equitable. The previous ordinance applied townwide, and it treated every property the same and applied to literally every property. So somebody coming in for a small waiver of plat probably wouldn't have been able to do that anymore. You know, this really does apply to properties that can be subdivided into several lots.
Gotcha. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Jeff. All right, Russell, if you can please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 12.
Item number 12 is an ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, amending Section 105-030 of the Town of Southwest Ranches Unified Land Development Code of Ordinances pertaining to quasi-judicial hearings and ex parte communications, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
What just happened? I asked to bring this forward with a lot of modifications that Keith and I have made regarding the quasi-judicial process. As you know, this is something that I've been advocating for over a decade, where the council is prohibited from speaking with people who apply for land use, quasi instances or boundary changes or rezoning, anything involving land use. I think, going back, and I said this last time, and I'll reiterate, going back to Tractor Supply, Tractor Supply went through 3 different permutations. First, it started out in Country Estates, then it was talked about on 27, which was the right place for it to go, and then it moved over into Sunshine Ranches, and I don't think you were on the council at the time, and it was just me and Bob playing, dueling up here with the other council, and we knew that there was private meetings going on, and there was all kind of shenanigans, and I knew I couldn't get anything like this done at that time, and I said before, this council I trust, and Keith and I went back and redrafted this and reworked it, where it is possible to meet with somebody accidentally, and there's no penalty involved in that as long as you disclose it. So the idea that we're trying to cut off information isn't quite true. You can get more information. You can go visit the site. It's just we're prohibiting private backdoor meetings, things of that nature. They should be done out in the open in front of the public. Is really what is behind this. you know. I mean, under most circumstances, somebody that is putting in for a quasi judicial or rezoning, if they can't bring everything in front of us at one time, then they need to do more work to do that. I really firmly believe that. And in the two instances that I had that were, the one I mentioned was the Tractor Supply, and then the other one was Circle S, where I refused to meet with them, and they had a laundry list, and Bob and I went through they had a laundry list of stuff that they wanted exemptions from the town code. And due to the fact that I refused to meet with them, brought them to the negotiating table very, very quickly and very responsibly. You know, so the system works, is what I'm trying to say. And the only way any council member would be penalized on this is if they had an ex parte communication and did not disclose it. And what that penalty would be, I have no idea, because I haven't gotten that far. This is more of a shield to help us do our job out in the open and in the public, is really where I think it needs to be.
Right.
You know, and I would sincerely appreciate a council support on this. I'll leave everybody. I won't make a motion at this moment, but if anybody wants to go through more discussion with it, or if they have any concerns, you know, maybe I can answer them. Maybe
Yeah.
Richard can answer. You know,
Yeah.
I'd like to see this really go through, because I really think it would benefit future councils.
Right.
And you know, I trust this council implicitly. You know, we're all good guys. We all know that. We all know each other. But I worried about 5-10 years from now, you know.
Right.
And you saw how fast all that changed 2 years ago.
Yep.
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 Okay. I'd like to speak on it. I have
Sure.
some thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty strongly about this as well. When asked for disclosures, yeah, I met with him. That's all we ever got. And I had a
Right.
real problem with that because I knew there was more going on because of the depth of knowledge the people on the council had that you wouldn't have unless you had detailed conversations. I feel very strongly about this. I mean, we're sitting here as judges. Judges don't get involved with the defendants or the plaintiffs or whoever's in front of them until they're there to hear the court case, where they hear it fairly with both sides that are arguing their point of view. And I take that role here very seriously, because sometimes we're dealing with properties worth multiple millions of dollars, and, you know, to put your thumb on the scale and start talking to one side or the other, to me, is unethical. It's immoral. And we just couldn't get that through with the group of people that Gary is referring to. So, you know, if we have no conversation with them, other than, I mean, stuff happens. I could see being at a party somewhere and the guy who's developing a piece of property comes over and says, hey, you know, I've got this, then the conversation immediately is, can't talk about it, sorry. So, you know, I feel very strongly about this.
Great. Yep. Thank you. I want to jump in here because Gary, I want you to know, I sincerely, I know that this is coming from the right place, and I know the frustrations, because when I was not on the council, you called me and we had some conversations about it. So I know where this is coming from, and I know you like I know all the folks up here, and I feel very confident that we all are of the same mind, that we were very uncomfortable with what was going on at that point in time. I want to express why I have an issue with this. While I agree that I'm in the role of a judge here, I also was elected as a representative of the residents of the town. And so we have to balance both of those things. And I have a real problem with not being able, when something like this comes before me, that I am restricted from talking to the residents that put me in this chair about that issue. And we may say, well, there's never residents there, but we've got one right now, that Carlos Martinez, that I really want to talk to him. There's things that I want to have a one-on-one conversation with him and be able to really dig into What's his vision for it? What does he want to do? A lot more than what he can express here in a question and answer session here. I don't do it a lot. You've seen the disclosures that I give here. I don't do it a lot. I rarely do it. But there are certain situations where our residents are involved that I want to have a conversation. I don't want to put my thumb on the scale, but I do want to get to all the facts. I do want to understand the other side. I'm going to say something here that I don't want to be misinterpreted. It could easily be misinterpreted, and I want to be very careful about it, but I need to say it because this is part of my frustration and why I feel so important, like this is so important, is that many times when these issues come to us, our view on the facts are strictly coming from legal. Now, this is where I got to jump in. I just want to be clear. We have an amazing legal team, and I would not trade them for anybody else in Broward County. And this is in no way am I saying the reason why it's tough for me is because actually they do their job so well. Okay, they're positioning themselves to be a proponent of the town, and they're like any attorney, I don't. They're going to give me all the facts for that side. It's not their job to give me facts on both sides. Show me an attorney that gives you facts on both sides of a case, and I'll show you an attorney that's not very successful. A prosecutor says, well, yeah, he did it, but I don't know, maybe not, I don't know, A defense attorney says, I don't know, I can't explain how his, DNA got there, I don't know, I have no idea. Their job is to take a side and to convince you of it. And so they are protecting the town, which is their job, which is what we, want them to do, and they are presenting those facts to us. But we're not hearing the other side. Very often, we do not hear the other side. And I could run off, there was a situation here earlier, about a year ago, where everything I heard was the absolute correct facts, okay? But there was a whole nother side. And when I dug into it, and I learned the other side, it turns out that we were going to prosecute one of our residents here for close to $40,000, when in fact they had no reason for that issue to have come against them in the first place. It was resolved before it ever happened. And yet, if we had left it to the story that we had heard, or the narrative that we had heard initially, I would have been like, you know what, sorry, that's what it is. But once you'd hear the other side, and I believe that's our job. I believe that's our job. We represent the residents. If we don't represent the residents, who is going to represent the residents? And so I feel like I need this flexibility. Do I take advantage of it very often? No. No, because I don't want to get into the middle of it. If I don't need to, I don't want to create a situation where people think maybe I am putting my thumb on the scale. All right, I am concerned about that perception. But especially when our residents get involved, whether it's in a situation like Mr. Martinez, or whether it's a situation like some of the waiver of plats situations, where it's actually our residents coming before us, I feel like I need to have the flexibility. I don't do it very often, like I said, but I feel like I need the flexibility to talk to them if I need to. I think that's important, and I am not comfortable giving up that opportunity.
Yeah, but Steve, you also mentioned that 40,000. That was a code case. This doesn't apply to that.
That does not apply to that particular case. But all right, but it's the same thing. You talk about other cases like.
That's a magistrate. We've got somebody who's a judge there.
I'm using that as an example.
Right.
I'm not using that example. If that applies to the same thing with the waiver of plats, right? Right? That would be another situation where we have had, I wasn't going to go into this, but we have had residents recently that come before us for the waiver of plats, which is quasi-judicial, and we have gotten the narrative of one thing, which I'm not going to say it wasn't true. I'm sure there was elements of truth in it, but it certainly wasn't the whole truth. And I thought they were treated very poorly and inaccurately, and treated like they were trying to get away with something when in fact they were just trying to separate that property for their kids and their family. And that's not right. And so in those types of situations, I want to be able to talk to those residents because their side of the story is not being heard. The other side of the story is being communicated to each of us before they show up, and they show up like they're criminals showing up here without our opportunity for us to talk to them, get to the truth, hear both sides of the story, and make an accurate response to that. So
So how would you address my concern then? You've just had this detailed conversation with them. None of us have the benefit of that conversation.
that's correct.
We ask you to disclose. Are you going to go through your entire conversation and explain their point of view? Because again, then how do we, honestly, you know I trust you. I've known you forever. But how do we trust the next guy to not be putting his thumb on the scale?
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. So no, I don't, my job up here, as we pointed out, is more of a judge. So my job is not to be the proponent for them either, right? However, as any judge, I would hope they would want to hear valid arguments from both sides so they can make the proper judgment. So what I would like to see in this is that we can, running into them, in happenstance, that doesn't do me any good, right? I need to set up a meeting with them and speak with them. What I would propose is that we have somebody, an administrator or somebody else from the town staff that's there that can be there to hear the conversation, and so everything is more out in the open.
Well, how about if we had a transcript so we could read it? You're benefiting from your conversation, and I understand why you want to collect the information. You want to make sure they're being treated fairly. Completely get that.
Mm-hmm.
But what you discussed with them, none of us have any idea.
But
We
you
don't
have the
know.
opportunity to discuss them with them as well.
Then we're back where we were.
Yeah, we're right back to where we started from.
That's right. I mean, I like I said, I understand the danger of it, but I also understand that the voters have a role in this, and I think they did a pretty good job of doing their job. I'll just leave it at that. And
Maybe record it. I want to understand what's going on there, because otherwise, they're going to plead their case in front of all of us, and we all hear the same thing. And I get your point. This isn't a court of law. We're not trying to prosecute. We're trying to make a decision based on the facts.
Right.
I'm comfortable if I heard it afterward. I just want to know what you know. It's that simple. And yeah, you're right. I could sit down with them. I don't have the 15 years on the council that you have as well to ask the questions. But you would be asking those questions during a council meeting that we would all get the benefit of. In this scenario, we don't.
I certainly, I don't have a problem. I certainly don't have a problem with it being recorded. I'm not doing anything that.
This isn't about you.
I know.
I just want to know.
Right.
Yeah, this is for future councils.
Yeah.
When we're all old and gray, and
Yeah.
some of us might not be
might
here.
already be there.
Yeah, might not be here. That kind of thing. But this rule would stay in effect, and it is very effective, especially in controversial cases.
Yeah.
And I fully get what you mean by, wanting to talk to the residents. But I really think the residents need to come in prepared, not, I got this guy in my pocket already or something like
But
that.
the problem with it, and I agree they should come in prepared, but the problem is that we're getting a narrative before they ever show up. We are hearing, if it would be one thing if we don't hear a thing about this from anybody and then they show up and we're just hearing what we hear here.
Maybe that's
But
more
that's not the
appropriate.
case.
Maybe that's more
That's
appropriate.
not the case.
We don't hear from our side until, because again, I don't know. This is beyond my knowledge, but I don't think the prosecutors have discussions with the judges before a case. Richard, is that accurate or not?
Well, in open court.
I'm not talking
The other
about
side
open
there, right, but no, that's the quintessential why ex parte communications are frowned upon. I mean, especially here in Florida with the Sunshine Law. Florida takes Sunshine Law very seriously, as we've all known. One of the things especially that can come out of ex parte communications, one, whatever vote was taken could be overturned in court. Number two, there could be ethics complaints and ethics violations that follow those, and penalties that are associated with that. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons, additionally, why Florida is Sunshine State and everything should be in sunshine. So, and that's why both sides are allowed to present and come here. When they submit their application, they're able to give a narrative, present their side, and then they're able to hear in front of the residents and the whole town council to present their case, and the other side is able to, and residents for and against it can present their case. That's the idea of presenting it in the sunshine, and that's also why ex parte communications are frowned upon, and they just shouldn't have, especially in the judicial aspect, and this is quasi-judicial proceedings.
I can support what you're doing if you want to record it, because I'm just interested in knowing, not catching you.
Yeah.
That's not my point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with it being recorded.
I know.
I don't know
I'm
when
sure
you
you
would
don't.
listen to it, but,
Well,
you know.
You'd be surprised.
Well,
You know.
one of the things that I found interesting is really, when it comes to quasi-judicial, we don't find out about it until the agenda's published.
That's right.
I mean, we're not really getting like inside information that,
Yeah, I would disagree with that, but, yeah. Jim?
Gary, you said something earlier, and I wrote it down, and maybe I misunderstood. You said this would only apply if you didn't say that you had communications with them.
if you had, what I was saying, there was no penalty. If you spoke to somebody, accidentally ran into them at a cocktail party or whatever, you would have to disclose that you had that conversation.
And if you had the conversation with them,
And you did not express that at the time, then you're in violation.
but you're taking away the right to speak to them in the first place. Am I right?
If they're quasi-candidate.
Right, a quasi,
If
you're
they're-
taking away that right to start with. Isn't there a state law now that says you must communicate that if you do it? And if you don't communicate it, you get in trouble. But you're saying that you can't do it at all. Just, that's it. All right? And I'm not sure that I like that. And I'm not, but I'm not sure I like that, in that I really think that I would like, if I wanted to talk to someone, all right, I'd come in, I'd meet with town, I'd ask questions and set up a meeting. I like the idea of meeting here, maybe recording it or whatever, but to say that I can't talk to someone, I'm not sure I like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just me.
So I just got to jump in on the
Yes.
recording. That's we can't
Okay.
do that. We can't, there's not,
Okay.
can't be any.
Not allowed.
Okay,
Really?
on the table.
right.
That's the problem.
Yeah, you bring up the point where they're talking to you, but they're not talking to the rest of us.
But you chose not to talk to them.
Yeah,
It's not that they don't want to talk to you, but you chose not to. No,
No.
the council
Each of us-
chose not
yeah,
to
Each
speak.
of us could meet with them.
Exactly. Each person can meet individually if you choose to meet with them. If I don't choose to meet with them, that's my prerogative.
Right.
The rest of you may all meet and have a great time, and I choose not to. But that's my prerogative. To take that away from me, all right? And I took an oath to do to sit here and act as the judge and so forth. To take that away from me, any information that I could gain, if I wanted to, I think would be helpful. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you would be
the
the exclusive beneficiary of that information. It's, you're back to the closed door,
Backroom deals.
private conversation. Andy's got his hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I understand where you both are on this. So what if we do, we set it up where ex parte meetings are discouraged, but if they occur, a member of the staff must sit in, and they should be held at town hall and advertised and open to the general public.
I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
But we say we can't record it, but,
No,
but,
yeah, but
Well, it was recorded. The rest of you couldn't even listen to it until after the item had been heard anyway.
Richard, why can't it be recorded?
Well, it's just because it's the individual people that are there, and it can't be heard before, because again, on quasi judicial, you're supposed to make your decision based upon what is presented at the hearing. And then you do your findings of fact, and then you make your decision solely on the competent substantial evidence that's before you. You're not making your decision on what you heard beforehand, one-on-one, or in the ex parte communications.
So then
Again,
what-
at the end of the day, case law and everything out there, ex parte communications are frowned upon. That's why they're ex parte. They don't happen in court. That's going to get somebody disbarred. That's going to get a judge in trouble. It's the quintessential why ex parte communications are frowned upon, and why there could be ethics violations, complaints, and why they can even overturn something that was voted upon if it wasn't properly disclosed. Not only not properly disclosed, but saying, a lot of times I think if I'm here or Keith's here, you'll hear us say, okay, yes, you disclose these ex parte communications, but however, despite those ex parte communications, will you solely make your decision based upon the competent, substantial evidence that you're hearing tonight or before you? That's the reason why ex parte are so bad.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Question. If an issue is being brought up on a quasi-judicial vote, number one, the conversations that any one of the fictitious council member in the future has a conversation, and that conversation would in one way or another disqualify that council member from a vote. What would be the procedure of somebody from the public challenging that council member's vote on a quasi-judicial matter? Because we have a 5-0 vote requirement. Now, if a future council member has a conversation that it comes out, we don't, if allowed, would somehow lead somebody to believe that they may be persuaded because of that ex parte conversation. Is there a method in which the public or somebody could challenge a council member's vote on that issue? I'm asking the town attorney if he.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
Yeah,
you were
yeah. I'm
directing
asking if
that
you
to
know
me.
that.
No, absolutely. I mean, if a resident or anybody or an applicant on either side believes there's been a violation of ex parte communications without full disclosure, they could absolutely challenge that decision afterwards.
What would be the procedure?
I mean, first of all, it depends. I mean, they could file, first they would probably have to appeal it here, depending whatever exactly our code says on that aspect of it. And then the next level up would be to circuit court in its appellate capacity. Or they could also file an ethics violation.
Hey, the kind of what it brings it about, I don't know if Gary was at the meeting. I damn sure know Steve was at that meeting. Sunshine Ranches Homeowners Association, 2018. We've already had the issue that's coming up on the ballot of the 5-0. And one of our residents asked one of the council members at that time, did you have a conversation with the individuals from Tractor Supply? And that council member at the time said, I did. Then the resident said, well, whom did you speak with? And that council member says, I don't recall. And at that time, Steve was not a member. And Steve stood up and says, this is what the 5-0 is all about. I will remember that quote as long as I'm in this town. Because I was like, that sold it, nailed it.
Right.
All right? Now, the problem that I have with ex parte communications on a quasi-judicial matter is that council member is obtaining information that the general public does not have and would be able to ask questions that the general public would not be able to have unless the person is there. And once again, we're sitting as judges. And, you know, as an attorney, I can't have ex parte communication with any judge. In fact, I keep a very, very arm's length away from any judges that I talk to. I feel very cautious and standoffish with talking to a judge. It's just my manner. But I understand I understand the need. I want to talk to Mr. Martinez too. There's some issues that I would like to discuss, but I understand that there's a brick wall between us, and I don't know how to communicate. I don't know if there's an avenue to communicate that except for him coming up here and making his case. But we're sitting here as judges, and I just remember what happened there. And had I known now what I knew back in 2018, I may have filed something to challenge that council member's ability to cast a vote because of what he said in that Sunshine Ranches Homeowner Association meeting. So that's where my thoughts are on this.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to eliminate the slippery slope. And I fully get where you come from. I fully get it,
Yeah.
And I trust you implicitly.
Yeah.
You know that. That's not, that's not even an issue. But I just really, really think that this protects us. That people have to come before us. It's recorded. It's televised. And they make their case. And we're up here, we're no longer up here as councilmen. We're up here as a quasi-judge. And we need to, based upon the evidence, make a decision, and I keep harping back to the 2 fun years I had, with all the shenanigans that were going on, and that could easily happen in 5 more years.
Can easily happen in November.
And I really see this as a protection, for us, because if we accidentally get into a conversation, we just have to disclose it. We don't get penalized. If we want to go to the site and we want to see what's going on our own, we can do that. Or if we, or whatever the particular situation is. So we're not really trying to limit the information. We're trying to limit the one-on-one where a deal gets made.
Yep. Hey, Richard, I got a question for you. So as far as preparation for a quasi-judicial item before it comes to us,
Okay.
who can give us information on that item?
Well, you're going to have the backup from staff report.
Correct.
So you're going to have everything from the
Correct.
agenda and everything of that
Got you there.
nature. So that's all you're going to have for quasi-judicial.
So no one, the administrator, the town attorney, no one like that should be telling us a single word about that item before
Well,
it shows up.
if you have questions to the town attorney, that's different. The town attorney's giving you legal advice. He's not giving you.
And that's my point. And that's my point. That's where we hear one side but not the other. That's the issue, because the town attorney, and as I'll say it again because this can be easily misinterpreted, I think we have the best town attorney. I would not trade Keith and or yourself for any other town attorney that I'm aware of in South Florida. So do not, and anyone take this, that this is any way against our town attorney or our legal team, because that's not what it is. But we often are already hearing a narrative. We're not basing it solely on what's in front, what we hear there. We show up with a preconceived notion of what the issues are because of what you just passed on to us. And that's my problem. We're getting one side of the story and not the other. And it's not fair to the residents, and I've seen how they've been treated. I on this dais said I am absolutely embarrassed by how that individual is being treated. And why were they treated that way? Because there was a narrative that was in place before they even showed up in this building. It's not just everything that is said here. And if we don't stand up for those residents, who is? Nobody is. We were elected to stand up for them. And if we're not going to be able to do that, then nobody can.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, doesn't a 5-0 vote take care of that? Isn't that what we put the 5-0 vote in for?
I mean, the 5-0 vote,
To stop people if.
Stop the shenanigans. That's for
Exactly.
sure.
And that's what it was for, correct?
Yeah.
But that would be directed at the people that come here, not against the town. I mean, the 5-0 vote, we would never not vote, well, I don't know, maybe we would, but, based on Keith's comments or the town attorney comments, we'd never not vote 5-0 on it. This is a dilemma, Steve.
It is. I know it is. And
I get
don't-
what you're saying,
I
and
don't
I mean,
take it-
we're all in the same boat.
Yep.
Somebody needs our help, or we see that they need our help, we want to be there for them.
And we can't inform ourselves.
I have a question. Is there a mechanism that we can somehow put in where during a council meeting, we could have a discussion among council members and somebody that would come before us on a quasi-judicial, when their issue isn't actually brought up, but preliminary?
Right.
Say we have a discussion when we have all 5 council members, and Mr. Martinez wants to have some discussions where he could do it in the open, so we avoid that ex
Preliminary
parte.
hearing.
Right. I like that. I like that.
Is that something we can put in?
I mean, we have quasi-judicial procedures in the code that we need to follow. I don't believe there's anything in the code that calls for preliminary hearings or anything of that nature. Again, at the end of the day, these quasi-judicial proceedings and the bans or protections against ex parte communications are here for a reason. They're here to, number one, protect whatever decision in 5-0 vote that the council makes from being attacked later, and it also protects all the council members from any potential ethics complaints. That's, again, why everything's being held out inside, or, sorry, in the sunshine. That's the idea, to hold it in the sunshine.
But with David's recommendation there, it would be in the sunshine.
And we can change our ordinances to accommodate.
If you change the quasi-judicial procedures, sure. But again, it's got to be in the open. But again, that's going to be a part of the record, and it'll have to be part of the record as part when you come back into the quasi-judicial proceeding.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
So
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be part of the record. I don't want let me be clear, I don't want anything to be done behind scenes where, nobody's.
Right.
I'm just looking for a way to balance out so that we hear both sides.
Right, appropriate.
So we can make
Gary,
an
do you-
appropriate decision.
Gary, do you think we can work something in the quasi-judicial
Mayor?
proceedings where we would allow something like that?
Yeah, Russell.
I apologize for the interruption. I have Keith Polikoff on the phone. He's been listening in, and he has some thoughts
Okay.
related to this. First thought is that the having any kind of hearing or a workshop or anything like this, a preliminary hearing, would violate state law. So he's standing by. He's willing to talk about that. But
Thank you.
he's also offering potentially for the proposal to be split on quasi-judicials. Nobody basically speaks to anybody. So I'm going to put him on, and if you have any questions, you can direct
right.
to him. Keith, are you there?
I am.
Okay. Do you want to say something?
Oh, I'm sorry, Russell. There's a delay on TV. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Hey, Keith.
Okay. Sorry, I am enjoying this on TV and apologize for not being there. A pre-hearing of a quasi-judicial item does violate state law because everyone has to be sworn in. It has to be conducted in an evidentiary hearing. It does make a record. You're not allowed to workshop quasi-items. The law is clear on that. But what I wanted to mention is what the mayor's suggestion is that in some way, shape, or form, that when they ask questions of staff, meaning the council, or staff gives any input into an item, he feels that it may be swaying council in one position rather than another position. And if that is the feeling, there is nothing wrong with splitting the baby here and saying that neither the council may not speak to either the applicant or staff concerning a quasi-judicial item, and thereby it will solve that issue. Essentially, it would be that you could not speak to anyone. So I just wanted to suggest that is a alternative option that, hopefully gets the mayor where he's looking for, which would be that everyone would hear the item the same time for the first time.
And I think that's certainly an alternative. I'm looking for more information, not less information.
And
So-
that turns quasi-judicial into a 2-hour conversation as we get educated on things that I might ask Jeff in advance. I mean, I call him with questions on a lot of these.
Yeah.
Or I could throw out one other alternative option, and that is that the only individual that council can speak to is zoning director Jeff Kadams.
And actually, I'm okay with that because Jeff is just the facts kind of guy, and so, and I mean that as a compliment. I don't know if you took it as, but you know, he is just the facts kind of guy. This is what it is. So you know, I feel pretty good about that. That might be I don't know, Gary. What do you think?
What? Run it by me one more time.
So, what Keith is proposing is that when a quasi-judicial item, we would treat it really more as a judicial type item, where we don't communicate with anyone other than Jeff Kadams on it.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
Because that's it. That's his.
it's his
valley.
area, right? He knows the facts.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I could.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
I'm all right.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
All right. I mean, you know, to be honest, I mean, I always, you know, I'll say this on the record. I feel, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I feel blessed that we have the council we have, and I have the honor to work with the individuals that I'm working with. I trust you all implicitly as well. And I always like to see us get to a situation where we're all on board because
Yeah, it's important.
it's important. It's important. You know, I would prefer this item just go away. I'm happy with the way it is today, to be honest with you. But in the interest of trying to find a consensus of middle ground, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Okay.
But I want to hear from Jim because I'm not sure Jim is okay with it. Speak to us, Jim.
I understand that Jeff is the one that knows about the issues, but I come up in a different environment, and not being able to speak to your attorney or not being able to speak to legal counsel about something bothers me greatly. It just does. I don't know. Why do we have legal counsel? I mean, if I have a question about something that doesn't look right, I can ask Jeff or Keith or ask both and get the information that I need. Is it one-sided? I don't think so. Jeff is not going to give me a one-sided answer, you know? I don't believe that Keith would, but I'm just not comfortable being able to ask if I have questions. I'm not comfortable with it. It may be what we have to do. It may be that we can only speak to Jeff, but I'm not real comfortable with it, no.
Well, would you be more comfortable if we included only the attorney and Jeff?
Well, that's the only ones I speak to anyhow on these issues. You know, I go to the source and speak to them, and I mean, I feel comfortable knowing that I can speak to the attorney because you can keep your tail out of jail that way. I mean, I'm sorry,
But you could ask those questions here.
Yeah.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Mr. Polikoff has another suggestion.
Okay.
Mayor, if I may, and I'm sorry, the delay on the TV makes this a little challenging, but to address Commissioner Councilmember Alberton's concern, how about this one? You can speak to staff whenever you want, meaning Jeff Kadams. If there is a legal question that you need to pose to the town attorney, such question will be recorded in a written form with the answer in a written form so that it can be disclosed at the hearing.
I have no problem at all, Mr. Polikoff, disclosing anything, but not to be able to ask the question is the part that bothers me. I don't care if you tell them every word that I said from the day I walked in to the day I walked out. I don't care about that. It's just me being able to ask those questions.
To give you the full ability to ask any question,
yes,
we would just simply record the question in writing and the answer, and that will be as part of the record.
I have no problem with that whatsoever, as long as I can ask the questions. Thank you.
But then you're still only hearing half the story.
Well,
you're only hearing the town side of the story.
Well, that
you're
is-
missing the resident side of the story.
That is true.
And then it becomes an imbalanced
It does,
argument,
yes.
and that's exactly what I am uncomfortable with. If I'm going to hear one side, I've got to have our I believe, I need to be able to communicate with the resident to hear their side.
Well,
Otherwise, it's a
wouldn't Jeff
one-sided
be
conversation.
representing the resident? They have to go to him
I
first.
hope he's
right?
not representing the resident.
No, but I mean, they have to go to him first.
Yep. Yeah, but no, he doesn't. Absolutely. No,
He's a
he's,
bureaucrat.
like I said, he's just the facts, you know?
Right.
This is what you can do, this is what you can't do. I don't, I know, and I'm using this kind of sarcastically, because I know Jeff well enough, I don't want him, selling us on anything that the resident wants to do. And I know he would never do that. All right, let me open it up to the public. Go ahead, Noel.
Bill Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. For the last 30 minutes, I've been watching you beat your head against the wall when the answer is right in front of you on the page. Take a look at Section 2B3. Investigations and site visits. A board member may conduct investigations and site visits and may receive expert opinions regarding pending quasi-judicial matters. Such activities shall not be presumed prejudicial to the action if the existence of the investigation, site visit, or expert opinion is made part of the record before the final action on the matter. That means you can go out to the property, and who's going to be the expert at the property? But I do suggest that it be done as a group, where you take a Saturday and all of you go out to the property, and those that don't want to go don't have to go. And have that conversation there, looking at the property and the problems and what they're going to do with the property for the quasi-judicial. And get the expert opinion at that point. Now, if you want to have council present at that one, if you want to have planner present at that time, you can. But those are expert opinions. This is the answer. It's been in front of you the whole time, and I've been trying to tell you. So what is the heck you've been doing? Read it. It's there.
Thank you, Neil. I mean, I don't, I wish I could say that the resident was the expert opinion, and I get your point, but I think that,
I don't think we can all show up.
We can't. I mean, it'd have to be noticed. It'd have to be just like
Yeah,
in
there's-
sunshine and, yeah.
There'd be a lot going on with that. Well, we've all kind of expressed where we're at. I really think this is an important piece to protect us and future councils. I know you disagree with it. But I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to adopt it as it is.
There's already been a motion and a second.
Yeah.
It's already pending.
no, I don't think so.
No, I didn't make a motion.
No.
Councilmember Kaczynski made a motion to approve, and it was seconded by Councilmember Hartman.
Oh, I missed
I
it.
never heard it.
Yeah, I missed that part. Okay,
Focused.
that was fast. Crank up the hearing aid.
Well,
like the
if
solution
this is the motion, I'll just say on the record that I think the residents are being left out. I don't think they're being represented. I think that this is not fair to the residents when they come before us. And I get the reason why we're doing this, but I think it's totally unfair to our residents of our town. And I'm going to have to vote against it.
Well, but
Yeah, but I kind of disagree with that assessment.
I know you
because
do.
They can come up to the podium and talk for an hour if they need to. and
I'm not going to go through the narrative again.
I know.
There is a narrative that is being expressed before they show up, and I hear it every time they show up because I see how they're treated when they show up. It's not right. It's not fair. We're hearing one side of the story before they get here, and then the residents are bombarded with questions and things based on that narrative, and are treated almost like criminals sometimes because there's this narrative that has been expressed before they show up. That's not a fair situation. That's not basing it strictly on what we hear before us. There is all kinds of stuff being heard beforehand that's coming from other places,
which is all prejudicial.
which is
How can
all
we fix that?
prejudicial.
How can we fix that? To me, that's what needs to be fixed.
That's what needs to be fixed. I agree, and that's why I could go for the other option.
Solution to Jim's concern?
I mean, unfortunately, yeah, it doesn't meet Jim's situation.
No. He said he'd be very happy if he could ask the question in writing and get a response back, and then it becomes part of the evidence.
I am fine. I'm fine with that. That if we write it, if we ask the question in writing, the attorney responds in writing, and it is distributed to the council at the same time. I don't know if that's before the meeting, at the meeting. I don't care.
Right.
But I'm okay with that, because then we're all getting the same message, which is critical.
Richard, is that something that, sorry, Gary's asking him a question. Richard, if we went the route that Keith had suggested, where Jim's question or any of our questions are captured in writing, responded to by the town attorney, could we get it beforehand, or would we have to get it at the hearing itself?
I mean, again, I have issues with that. It isn't as it is. I mean, Keith, you can respond on it.
To respond. Although Richard's concerned rightly that essentially it's a waiver of attorney-client privilege because you're asking us a privileged question and we're responding, should you choose to make that waiver, it could be done simultaneously. So we would record the question, record the answer. As long as you all are not responding directly to our response, there's no sunshine law issue. We would just post it so that everyone could see the question asked in the response to the question.
And then that would be entered into the record at the hearing.
Yes, but you would be given it simultaneously from when it was answered. Everyone would be given it at the same time.
Okay.
Gary, is that something you can live with?
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly could live with that. You know, I want the ability to,
Yeah.
what I've been doing for the last 10 years, you know, to make it a requirement for everybody. I think it's in the better interest. And I fully get the whole, you know, your side of the argument. I fully get it, but, you know, we live in a world where we have fences and we have locks on our doors. And, you know, and they have private meetings, and we've gone through all that.
And I get your side as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's up to the makers of the motion to modify it if they want to.
You seconded it, so you got
I would be happy to withdraw my second.
All right. Now, let me amend my motion, where it will allow a council member to discuss with Jeff Kadams. And if a question concerns a legal question on the quasi-judicial matter that's quasi-judicial question that requires legal opinion, that the council member can make the request to the town attorney, that would be recorded by the town attorney, and the town attorney's response would be in writing and distributed to each of the council members concurrently.
I'm good with that.
You want to
That's my motion.
I'll second it again.
Okay, we got a motion and a second of something I think we can all agree on.
Okay.
Good job.
Any other
tough.
comments? All right, please call the roll.
Okay. Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. All right, item number 13. Andy, if you can do the introduction on that one.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It gives me great pleasure to bring this item forward. As you all know, Marty has done an outstanding job for the town over the last 10 years, but back in December, he announced his intent to retire. And so we began the process of finding somebody to fill his shoes. And that's been quite a challenge. We got about 30 applications, many of which were very qualified. We went through a grueling interview process. We actually had 3 candidates who came back for a second interview and met with staff as well. And I have no doubt that we have selected the best candidate to serve the town of Southwest Ranches going forward. The contract is up certainly on tonight for your consideration and approval. But I can tell you that Emil has he's seen us at our best. He's seen us at our worst already. We are in the budget process. As part of that, we have our departmental meetings, which are, if I said grueling, that's probably too kind. Those were 10 to 12-hour days over 3.5 days. And he sat in on those meetings on his own time in order to get a better understanding of the town, where we are, how we operate, who the players are. And I'll tell you, I was pleased when he came back the second day. So I'm, as I said, delighted to bring this item forward, and I'm looking forward to working with him. And I know Emil's here for certainly any questions and comments that you all have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. And thank you, Emil, for, I know you've put in a ton of time before you even got on the payroll. So it speaks volumes for who you are and I'm sure the job that you're going to do. So thank you for that.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Yeah.
The read on record first.
All right, go ahead.
This is the resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving the Selection Committee's recommendation of Emil C. Lopez as the town's financial administrator of the Town of Southwest Ranches, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to enter into a contract with Emil C. Lopez, which establishes the scope, compensation, and benefits for the town financial administrator services, and providing an effective date.
Before we have a motion on this item, I have one item, Emil, that I wanted to bring to your attention. In reading through the contract, there was one item that was slightly different than what I had anticipated, and it's different than some of our other contracts. And that is, should you voluntarily find another position and move on, the contract obligates you to a 60-day notice to the town. Having just gone through this process and realizing how much time it takes to find someone qualified to do this, I would like a request that we adjust that from 60 days to 90 days, if that would be agreeable to you.
That's perfectly fine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I would propose that we make that one minor adjustment to the contract.
You want a motion to review?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the contract with that addendum. It is a 90-day notice.
Perfect. Thank you.
Second.
Great. Any other comments from the council?
Yes. I had the pleasure of meeting Emil last week. I think we spent about an hour and 15 minutes together. I think he's very well suited for the job. As a professional, I have all the respect for him. Something I did want to bring to everybody's attention that I think will be very helpful. He's got a background in customer service, and one of his roles, I think it was particularly at Miami, where there's a customer service group that backs up some of the financial operations. He was responsible for that, so we talked about some ideas that he might be able to implement here as well to just make the flow between the residents and the financial administration team a little smoother.
Awesome.
So,
That'd be great.
yeah.
Good.
Got all my confidence, Emil.
Excellent. Any other?
I'll just state I had my conversation with Emil, and I brought up some of the previous situations where we had difficult budgetary issues, where we've had council chambers packed with people that were unhappy with certain fees.
Yeah.
And I wanted to let them know that when something like this comes up on the radar, be very clear about communicating, because this came up like almost at the last minute, if we all recall. And I really, really don't want to face that. I don't.
Right.
But I believe he's aware of it, and I'm confident in Emil as our administrator.
That
for
situation
finances.
is what drove me to my questions as well. So,
Yeah.
if you think alike.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, we've got, he's got some large shoes to fill.
Yeah,
You do.
Marty, we're going to really miss you. And I'm sure Emil's going to, do his best to live up to your standards. And I just want to let Marty know how much we appreciate the work you've done. As you remember, when you got here, the books were a mess.
A mess.
It was a disaster.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I'm being nice. Our auditors fired us,
Yes, they did.
and I remember watching an Old Town Hall in the back of the room. It was just an unmitigated disaster, and you straightened it all out. So, my hat's off to you, Marty. You're going out at the top of your game, and I hope you really enjoy your retirement.
Thank you very much, and it's wonderful for the time that I've been here, and as I've indicated and promised, everything will go smoothly with the transition. So you all, the residents, will be assured an easy transition throughout this budget season. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Marty. And thank you, Emil. All right. Any public comment on this item?
I'm shocked. Again.
Newell Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. I've already had a little conversation with Emil.
Good.
And told him that we're not like his previous assignment down in Hallandale where they don't even put his name on the website. His name is definitely on the website here, and it's on every Southwest rancher that goes out along with his backline phone number. So I told him that he will be getting a lot of calls from individuals that have a question about the budget or how something's being spent or where the money goes or whatever. And I also told him that he is now going to take over the new title of Moneybags.
All right.
So, Marty, you're giving it up. So, I just wanted to let him know that it's going to be different here than it was in Hallandale. There is no hiding behind the wall or behind the cubicle. He's right there. And you go in that door, you're in his office. That's it. So, and Marty, he'll explain to you that people will walk right in and go, hey, I got a question right here. What about this and that and there? And, get the answer for him. And that's the way Marty did it. And I had no problem calling him up, asking him a question, and Marty may take a while to get back to me on it, but he always got back to me and got me the answer I needed. So I expect the same thing, and I expect the same level of expertise and dedication that Marty gave us. And thank you, Marty.
Great. Thank you, Neil. Seeing no other public comment, yeah, we have been fortunate for sure. Marty has done an amazing job. But speaking to Emil, I'm excited to have you come on board. And we are a I'll say like a transparent community. People feel free to express themselves, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So.
I bet he noticed that.
Yeah. You've worked extra hours and you've spoken to Newell. I mean, you're still sitting here. I think we're good. I think we're good.
I have one request for Marty. Can you teach Emil how to do the eagle across the screen?
Yeah. You can't leave before the eagle has flown and tossed to the new.
Certainly, we got all the templates all ready to roll.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
You can be assured, I'm just as pleased and happy with the secession taking place. Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, we certainly wish you a great retirement, Marty. All right, I think we're good if we can call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Item passes.
Excellent. Congratulations, Emil.
Yes. Welcome to the team.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a privilege actually to be selected as your town financial administrator, and this is a great time, as you all indicated, for Marty. He has done a great and amazing job for almost 10 years. And it's pretty much, this is an opportunity for me just to expand on that foundation that he created, continue his work, and do things that probably going down into the future would be better for the town. one of the key elements for me to actually join the Southwest Ranches was essentially the working environment and the culture that Andy has been able to establish with the support with the council. It's something that it's hard to explain, and given the fact of the process that I went through, in which I has to participate and meet every member of the team, the departments, it makes you be more certain and sure that you belong to this environment, and that's something that you all should be proud of in this 10 years tenure that they both have been in here, and that I'm looking forward to work in such a great team environment.
Awesome. Thank you, Emil. Well, we're looking forward to working with you as well. Thank you.
I have a
Yeah.
question. Emil, Emil, just to let you know the responsibility that you're accepting. Welcome aboard. As long as the financial aspect of the town is running sufficiently, successfully, wonderfully, it allows us to work on our very important issues with zoning and policy issues. We don't have to double check the finances. So that's why your role, looking as finance director, finance administrator for the town, is important. It is very important for us so we can keep on our work on the policy matters. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
All right. Item number 14, please.
Item 14 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving a purchase order in the amount of $64,455.00 with Kimley Horn and Associates for professional services for the Transportation, Surface, and Drainage Ongoing Rehabilitation Roadway Assessment Study, authorizing the execution of the purchase order, approving a budget amendment to the fiscal year 2021 through 2022 town budget, and providing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
Just a quick question for Rod.
Yeah, Rod, if you can come up.
I'm quite familiar with the King study. I mean, that's been kind of our go-to for the road conditions and all since it was produced, what, 8, 9 years ago now. Is the outcome of this the same document, essentially just updated? What do we expect to have from this work?
We're going to basically adopt a new index. So it's an index that's more consistent with the way that the county and other jurisdictions measure pavement. So it's just going to be, it's going to put us in the same, what's the best way to kind of describe it? It'll be uniform with everything else, essentially.
Okay.
So what we're going to try to do also is marry both of those documents too. So there was a lot of decisions by the council, I think, to my understanding, because it was before I started, regarding the designation of what streets get done at what time.
Right.
So this is going to be more of mathematical evaluation, a PCI index, and it's essentially going to tell you exactly what the rating is. So we'll have to marry those two documents at some point, and we're going to do that through multiple meetings with the consultant.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Very good. Any other council comments, questions? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we can please call the roll.
Certainly, Mayor. Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. Item number 15.
Item number 15 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, supporting the submission of the Southwest Meadows Sanctuary Drainage and Water Quality Project to Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz to be considered for fiscal year 2023. Community project funding, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to execute any and all documents deemed necessary to help effectuate the intent of this resolution and providing for an effective date.
Great, thank you. On this item here, yeah,
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve it.
yeah, please.
Motion to approve? Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, great. We have a motion and a second. Emily, I'm wondering, can you give us kind of an overview of what kind of how this item came about, what it's for, and just,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Emily Assetti, Community Services Manager. Basically, the federal government quit doing earmarks about 10 years ago, and last year they opened up the cycle again. And this provides funding from the federal government through our congresswoman, who knows our area best, for specific projects. So we identified the Southwest Meadow Sanctuary Park and the Dykes Road drainage that has always been the plan that will meet our park commitments, as well as alleviate the flooding along Dykes Road. So this basically takes the water off of Dykes and puts it through the Southwest Meadow Sanctuary, which is at the corner, the southwest corner of Dykes and Griffin, and it provides a 3-acre wetland. So if we submit this, which, you know, it's all prepared, it's due tomorrow, the town would be asking for $750,000, of which would be a 20% match.
Great.
So the Congresswoman can only submit up to 15 projects. So we have to compete first with her
Right.
if it even is going to be considered for her submission.
Great, awesome, great, thank you. All right, any questions about this item?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, so much is getting done in the town drainage-wise.
It really is.
You know,
Yeah,
you
it's
think
really-
back to the early days when we were outside, when Gary and I and
We barely got
sitting on the
coconuts
drainage
out of-
board, and we were like,
out of-
the town's underwater. I don't know where to start, you know, and we're getting there. We're really, truly
Well,
getting there.
what's interesting about this is Debbie Wasserman Schultz approached us about this.
Yeah, she did.
And so I kind of think that she's,
It may be one of the 15.
yeah.
Yeah.
Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
She has fairly regular meetings on these topics, and they're interesting to attend because you hear the other cities competing.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, we don't ask for much, but when we
No,
ask,
yeah, and it's important.
yeah.
but
It's
hold on.
important. Yeah.
It's timing. I asked her on the phone for something like this a while ago, and then when she was out at the farmer's market, hey, Debbie, we've got a project for you. I think it fits your criteria, so
Yeah.
was an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment closed. Any further comment from the council? Seeing none, if we can call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excellent.
Mayor, if I may
Yes.
jump in for just a moment?
Yeah.
The next three items, 16, 17, and 18, are all companion items. They're all surtax funded, and they are allowing us, with council support, to put forward those different projects. So you may want to read, we're happy to address any questions you have on them, but you may want to read them all into the record at one time.
Sounds
and-
good.
And approach them that way.
Okay. That makes sense to me. Russell, if you can take a big breath and read in all three items.
I'll do my best. Let me take this cough drop. So this is, okay. A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, supporting the submission of the Southwest 185th Way, Southwest 186th Avenue Traffic Calming Project to Broward County Transportation Surtax Program to be considered for funding, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to execute any and all documents deemed necessary to help effectuate the intent of this resolution and providing for an effective date. Item number 17 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, supporting the submission of the Dykes Road roadway capacity and drainage improvements project to Broward County Transportation Surtax Program to be considered for funding, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to execute any and all documents deemed necessary to help effectuate the intent of this resolution and providing for an effective date. Item number 18 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, supporting the submission of the Green Meadows traffic calming and drainage project to Broward County Transportation Surtax Program to be considered for funding, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to execute any and all documents deemed necessary to help effectuate the intent of this resolution and providing for an effective date.
Great, thank you.
Motion to approve all three?
All three, good.
Second, third, and fourth.
Right, there we go. All right, so any discussion on this? On any one of these three items? Seeing none, any public comment on any of these three items? Seeing none, public comment closed. If we can please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 19, minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any additions, corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the minutes? Seeing none, we can please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
And it's motion to approve, motion to adjourn.
Awesome.
If somebody can show me how to shut this off.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thanks.